Good morning all, happy Friday. Please make sure that your cell phones are off. We are ready to start the day's proceedings. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Shaskelson.
Morning, Chair.
Good morning, Mr. Madlanga.
Morning, Chairperson. Chairperson, is it possible for me to just...
Sorry.
Is it possible for me to just introduce my colleagues? Because yesterday when we knocked off, I was shouted at to say Mr. Martin brought my colleagues and I didn't introduce them to the commission. So,
right.
Chairperson, I'm joined by...
Just a minute,
okay.
and good morning to you too, Sergeant Gosi.
Good morning, my honorable commissioners.
Good morning. Yes, Mr. Madlanga.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Thank you. Chairperson and commissioners, I'm joined by Mr. Lirutla on my far left, and I'm also joined by Ms. Mashatane, who's sitting just behind the secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Madlanga, but I thought your team looked much better yesterday when you had a woman as part of it. Yes, Mr. Shaskelson.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning.
Sergeant, yesterday we spent some time dealing with the TMPD Tender 1 of 24-25. That was the land allocation tender, the tender for security services relating to the policing of city land. And it's called the land tender or the demolition tender. You recall that?
That's correct.
Now, on Wednesday, I had shown you a list of prices and bidders that you sent to Mr. Mampani. It's on page 980. Maybe if we can go to 980.
Which file is that?
File 3. At 980. You have it?
I have it.
And you recall that this is the list that you sent to Mr. Mampani on the 30th of April 2025. You recall that?
I recall.
And now, if we go back to 980, I need to correct something that I put to you on Wednesday, because I put something to you in error on Wednesday. If you look at the heading on page 980, you'll see that it doesn't relate to Tender 1 of 24-25, which was the tender we discussed yesterday. It relates to Tender 3 of 24-25. You see that?
Correct.
So this was not a list of bidders and prices for the land or demolition tender. It was a list of bidders or prices for a different tender. It was, in fact, a list of bidders or prices for an ad hoc security services tender. Were you aware of that?
That's correct.
And the ad hoc security services is an arrangement where the city appoints providers to a panel, and then as and when they have an immediate need for security services, they call a provider from the panel to provide those services. Is that correct?
I don't have a knowledge about that.
I see, but you did send this list to Mr. Mampani.
That's correct.
So what did you know about the list when you sent it to Mr. Mampani?
As I said earlier, that I sent to Mr. Mampani because of he had an interest on it, because of he also applied.
Sorry, he had an interest in it? I didn't hear your answer.
That's correct.
Did he explain what his interest was?
He also applied for a tender.
And what was his company?
Okay, let me just check. It's ADW. Let me just check, be sure.
Can I read out a list of names to you, and maybe you can identify it from the list of names that I read out, if it's one of these? Can I give you a list of names, and if one of these is a security company belonging to Mr. Mampani, will you tell me? Ramalepe Security. Is that his company? Ramalepe. It's not this list, it's a much shorter list than this one. This one runs to, well, possibly hundreds.
No, I don't know about that. I wanna comment on the exact name that I know that it belongs to him because of it is.
Well, let me read the names that I have, and if it is one of those names, say yes. If it isn't, say no. Sergeant?
Yes?
So the first one was Ramalepe. You don't recognize that as his company?
Ramulepe?
Yes.
No.
Seputwe?
No.
Izingwenya?
No.
Mabotwani?
No.
Both Best Security? No. Both Best?
Both best.
Both Best, yes. No?
No.
Piri Piri?
Piri Piri?
Yes.
No.
Do you know whose company Piri Piri is? No. Ulitsaki? Now, Triotic we've spoken about previously. That was a company associated with Mr. Modise. You recall?
That's correct.
Mr. Mampani doesn't have an interest in Triotic.
I would not know.
You don't know that. Vugi Security, VHUGI?
What security?
Vugi, VHUGI?
I don't know.
Raite, R-A-I-T-E?
I don't know.
Gubis, does he have an interest in Gubis?
I don't know.
You don't know. NEP Security, NEP.
NEP. Yeah. Mampane's one, it might be NVP, not NEP.
NVP.
Yeah, NVP.
You think NVP? It's a three-letter name like that.
Yes.
And is that his only security company?
According to me.
The only one that you know? Okay. Did you know whether Mr. Mampani's security company was already providing ad hoc security services to the city?
No, I did not know.
No, you didn't know, or no, it wasn't?
I did not know.
You did not know. Now, what I'm going to put to you, you may or may not know, but these are the facts, that the ad hoc security services that the city was receiving were being provided in terms of an old tender that had expired on 28 February 2025. Were you aware of that when you sent this 2 months later in April? That there had been a tender which was a 3-year tender, and the 3 years ended on the 28th of February 2025?
No.
You weren't. And that tender was being extended on a month-to-month basis while this new tender, TMPD 3 of 2024-25, was being adjudicated.
You mean after it expired?
After it expired. Well, you didn't know that it had expired, so you wouldn't know that it was being extended on a month-to-month basis. What was interesting to me is Mr. Mampani's, well, before we get to Mr. Mampani's response, when we looked at this list on Wednesday, you said that this was a public document that you sent to Mr. Mampani.
That's correct.
In fact, it was not a public document. It was an internal city document relating to a tender process that was still ongoing at the time. Were you not aware of that?
No, according to me, this was advertised and cancelled.
Yes, when was it cancelled?
I can't remember.
Well, the facts will show that it was cancelled on the 29th of October 2025. So on the 30th of April, when you sent it, it hadn't been cancelled. But let's see why it was cancelled. You sent it to Mr. Mampani on the 30th of April, and that appears at page 930, well, it starts on 932, and the list is so long that it goes all the way down to it finishes on 935. So if we can go to 935. You'll see that at the top of the page of 935 is the last few items on that list.
Okay.
And it's also got the date and time where you sent it to Mr. Mampani. It was 11:56 on the 30th of April. And you see that shortly after he received it at 11:59, he called you back. That was chat 2. And at 12:04, you called him back. Then at 12:54, he said to you, "Buti, please let him say no to that appointment, please." How did you understand that request from Mr. Mampani?
I can't remember.
Well, let me put to you how I understand it. He's saying, let him, and the him, it seems to me, is Mr. Mnisi, the CFO, say no to that appointment. He's saying, tell Mr. Mnisi not to make an appointment on tender 3 of 2024-25. Was that not what he was saying?
Mr. Mambane never met with Mr. Mnisi, according to me, and they don't know each other.
Well, who had the power to make this appointment?
I don't know.
Was it not Mr. Mnisi who was chairing the bid adjudication committee and who would make whatever recommendation was ultimately implemented by the city manager in relation to this tender?
I don't know.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was Mr. Mnisi who had the power to make the recommendation that was ultimately to be implemented by the city manager in relation to this tender. And you know that this tender was cancelled, do you not?
That's correct.
It was cancelled on the 29th of October. And it was cancelled pursuant to a recommendation made by Mr. Mnisi. Did you know that?
No?
Did you speak to Mr. Mnisi or to General Dlamini in relation to this tender after Mr. Mampani said, please let him say no to that appointment?
I can't remember.
But Mr. Mampani was making a very specific request to you after you'd sent him a whole list of bidders, bid prices in relation to a pending tender for which he had applied. You don't recall what you did in relation to his specific request?
To answer that, Commissioner, I would not say, please let him say no to that appointment, because we talk a lot with Mambani, so I cannot align his statement with this, what I've sent him. But I could remember that earlier, before I could send him, he just phoned me that he heard that the tender had been cancelled.
Sorry, you say he heard that the tender had been cancelled before he sent you this message, or afterwards? Or...
If I could recall, yes.
Well, that's not possible, because the tender was only cancelled 6 months after he sent you that message. So he couldn't have heard it had been cancelled, hadn't been cancelled. It was still alive.
Yes, I'm just saying that there are possibilities, because the reason I would send him this, it is on those bases.
But if he knew that the tender had, well, he couldn't have known that the tender had been cancelled because it hadn't. So that couldn't have been the situation. You accept that? He couldn't have known that the tender had been cancelled because, as a matter of fact, it had not been cancelled by that stage.
I cannot comment on that.
And if he thought that the tender...
Sergeant, you have to be able to comment. You've been given dates, and maybe this is where I should express my concern about how you've been giving answers that you don't remember things since yesterday, even the most obvious ones. You've just been given dates. The tender, as a matter of fact, was cancelled in October. That's fact that you've been given. We are looking at WhatsApp messages in April. You say that the message, Buti, please let him say no to that appointment, was sent after he got information that the tender was cancelled. What is being put to you is simply this. At this point of this message, in April, the tender hadn't been cancelled. So it can't be that this message was sent after he heard that the tender has been cancelled. It's that simple. I think you are denying and refusing to comment on the most obvious things because you have taken a particular position that you are not going to be helpful to the Commission. And I think that should be expressed to you. You've been carrying on with, I don't remember. Now you say, I can't comment. You must be able to comment. And the comment is, yes, I accept that if the tender was cancelled in October, then in April he could not have been told or heard from anybody that the tender has been cancelled because it hadn't been cancelled. You should be able to accept that. And that you are not doing that is because you are being obstructive and not helping the Commission. That's the position you have taken. And I think you need to be reminded your obligation to the Commission is to assist and give satisfactory answers. You are not answering satisfactorily when facts are put to you that you are not disputing, and then you say, I cannot comment. I don't know if you want to comment, if you want to say anything. If you do, feel free to do that. But I think you need to be reminded of your obligations as a witness. It is to assist the Commission, which so far you haven't been doing. 2, it is to answer satisfactorily. Otherwise, you are committing an offense, and maybe you do need to be reminded of that.
Thank you, Commission. Commission, I would not answer something that I'm not sure of. I will be defeating the same oath that I took. I want to answer to the best of my ability. It is just unfortunate that maybe the commission would see as in I'm not cooperative to the commission. I've been answering questions since Monday till today. I'm answering, and I'm answering to the best of my ability. And it is fair for me as well, if I can't remember, I must bring that to the attention of the commission that I can't remember. If I can't comment, not on the basis that maybe I'm negative or I'm funny. I can't comment because of I don't want to say something that I cannot elaborate further on it. Thank you, Commission.
See, Sergeant, what has been put to you now is the tender was cancelled in October. That's a fact. That is being put to you, right? The second thing that is put to you is that the communication it happens in April at page 935 of the same year in April. So at the point, what is being put to you for comment is that at the point of this April communication, Mr. Mampani could not have been told that the tender has been cancelled because as a matter of fact, it was not cancelled. How are you not able to comment on that? How are you not able to say, I accept that? Because that is the only answer. It is yes, I accept. If the tender was cancelled in October, then I'm wrong to say in April he would have heard that the tender has been cancelled. And it is that which is making me raise this concern that surely you have to be able to say, yes, I accept that set of facts.
Can I comment on that? Sorry, on that matter, Commissioner, there are two things. I might maybe answered too quickly, or I might have misunderstood the question. But I sincerely apologize to be heard or to be understood as in I'm obstructive in terms of answering the questions.
Now that you have understood what was being put to you, which is the tender was cancelled in October, this communication between you and Mr. Mampani happened in April.
Yes.
Therefore, it cannot be correct, or in fact, let me put it differently. Mr. Mampani would not have been told by April that the tender has been cancelled. Now you understand the question,
That's
right?
correct.
What's your comment to that? Do you accept that?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shaska.
Is my apology accepted that I misunderstood as well?
I do accept your.
Thank you.
But Sergeant, there is another difficulty with that, because if you now accept that the contract couldn't have been that the tender hadn't been cancelled at the time of this exchange, you need to explain why you sent this document to Mr. Mampani when it was a document relating to a tender that was still under consideration.
Chair, can I use the services of the interpreter so that I must just misunderstood and over to the interpreter?
If you accept, as you must, that the tender was only cancelled on 29 October 2025,
Uma uvuma ukuthi itender yakhanselwa ngo-29 October 2025.
then you need to explain why on 30 April 2025,
Faneke ke uchaze ukuthi kungani.
Is your mic not working, Ms. Murray?
It doesn't seem to be working. It seems to alternate with the other one. Ufaneke ke uchaze ukuthi kungani wathumela lo mlayezo ngo-April.
you sent him a list of bidders and bid prices,
Wamthumela ke uhla noma i-list yama-bid kanye namanani, ama-price.
in relation to a tender that was still being considered by the city.
Maqondana netenda eyayisabhekwa eyayisahlolwa.
Ngiyakuphikisa lokho ubaba uShaklisi nakhuluma ngako ngezizathu zokuthi once ngokuqonda kwami ukuthi uma kukhona ithende seyiphumile yavalwa yakhepcharwa manje iyakhishwa kuyipublic ukuthi yilaba aba-applyile yilaba abantu kanje. You understand kwami?
I am in opposition to that because once the tender has been considered and been captured, then it's easy then it's sent out to indicate that fact.
Do you mean it's then available in the public domain, Sergeant?
Ngokuqonda kwami yebo mphathi.
According to me, that's how I understand it. That it was already in the public domain.
Sergeant, your understanding, if it was your understanding, is simply false, is simply wrong.
Ukuqondisisa kwakho akulona akuqondile. Akulona iqiniso.
Do you have any comment on that?
Ungathanda ukuphawula ngalokho.
Ngime uloko bengikade ngikushilo.
I still stand by what I've said.
Mr. Chairperson, I'm not sure if it's me who's misunderstanding Sergeant Nkosi. I think what he's saying is that on the day the bid closes, there's a public event where all the submitted bids are opened and the list is then publicized to say, these are the people who've submitted the bids and these are their prices. So that's how I understood his response. So if you are putting to him that that is not correct as a matter of fact and law, I don't know if that's where you are going. But that's how I understood the answer, and maybe he can just clarify that and then you put your question to him. Sergeant, I'm gonna try in simple English so that you and I understand each other. I understood you to be saying once people have submitted the bids and they are captured, the list is then made public that these are the people who submitted the bids and these are their prices. Have I understood you correctly?
Kunjalo.
Yes.
Can I take you to page 175?
Same file.
175, because the document that you sent, which appears there, is not a simple list of open bids, or bids that had been submitted and opened. If you go to 175, you'll see that the document is actually an internal Tswane document, the date of which is not clear, but it is dealing with the status of this tender. So at the end of the list, in fact, I'm sorry, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. Let's look at the document you actually sent Mr. Mampani, not the document. It is the same document that you forwarded to the CFO before sending to him. But go to 993, I'm sorry, I'll take you back to the other file, file 3. And go to page 993. So the document that you're sending him, if you see the last page of the document that you're sending him, it's not just the list. It says 2.1, late bids received if applicable, no late bids received. Pre-compliance. The following 435 bidders were evaluated on pre-compliance. Disqualification due to non-registration on CST. The National Treasury, and on it goes. So this is not a simple public document that is the document that is issued when bids are opened after the closing date so everyone knows who the bidders are. This is an extract from an internal Tswane adjudicatory process relating to the bids. It's not a public document.
Interpreter?
Le document le, i-document yangaphakathi evela kwi-committee adjudication, akuyona i-document ekhishelwe ngaphandle kumphakathi wonke ukuthi wazi ngayo.
Cha.
No.
On what basis do you say no?
Ukusho ngasiphi isizathu lokho sokuthi ukuthi cha.
Ngoku-understanda kwami ukuthi ithenda masivaliwe ube nezinkampani ezi-aplayile or ezifaka isicelo zokusebenza.
According to me, is that once the tender is closed and the names of the companies that had applied are then ungaqhubeka.
Ukuthi izinkampani esezi-aplayiwe ziya-capture esystemini. Maqeda uku-capture bese bayazikhipha kwi-public babone ukuthi
The names of the companies that are tendered, once they've been captured in the system, they are then issued out to the public.
But this is not the document that is issued out to the public. If you can go back to page 993.
Kodwa ke le document, akuyona le document esikhishwele ngaphandle, ekhishwele ngaphandle ukuthi yaziswe wonke umuntu. Mawubheka la ekhasini ka 993.
If you look at, it says 3, pre-compliance. The following 435 bidders were evaluated on pre-compliance. Evaluation on pre-compliance happens only after the unsealing of bids and public notification of who the bidders are. So this document is a document that is prepared long after and is reflecting an internal process of tender adjudication.
Le document, i-document yangaphakathi ekhishwa ngaphakathi ngemuva kokuthi ke inqubo noma i-process ya-adjudication isiyenziwe, kodwa i-document yangaphakathi.
ngisame lapho ngikade ngokushilo ekuqaleni.
I'm still standing there. Excuse the interpreter, I'm not sure I'm understanding the response from the witness.
Ngisame kuloko engikuphendulile.
I'm still standing by what I've answered.
How did you get this document?
Ngabe wayithola kanjani le document?
Angisakhumbuli kahle ukuthi ngayithola kanje.
I do not remember how I obtained this document.
Well, how you got it, you will see on page 932.
Indlela wayithola ngayo uzobheka ku page 932. 932.
You got it from the general. You got it from the general on the 30th of April at 11:56. I take that back, sorry, I take that back. You sent it to the general on 932. I withdraw that.
You say general, this page is Mampane.
Sorry, I have lost my track on this one. Let me get the correct reference, because you did in fact get it from the general, if I recall correctly.
Once you do that, let's put this to the surgeon. Surgeon, at page 989 and 992, those pages, all of them actually, from where this document starts, it seems from the heading of the document that it is an internal document, because the name of the document is TMPD 0324.25 draft admin R. I'm assuming it will be report or whatever the complete name is, but it is a draft document. So it's unlikely that this document would have been, that's a further indication that it's unlikely that it would have been in the public domain, because it's a draft document of the city. Can you see what I'm pointing out to?
Is 99?
You can pick any one of those. So I'm at page 988 randomly. But from wherever that long list of 435, I think, 435. So any one page that has this list of beds, the heading of it is the same. It's TMPD 032425 draft admin, and then R, and I'm assuming it's report. But the important part that I'm drawing to your attention is it's a draft document by its heading, so it's unlikely that this document was in the public domain. The mic.
Mic is off.
Uma sibheka le document esihloko sayo sikhombisa ukuthi draft, kuyabonisa ukuthi i-document yangaphakathi akuyona i-document esikhishelwe ngaphandle, ikhishelwa uwonke wonke.
Ngenhlonipho ngisame khona lapho.
I apologize, I still stand by what I said.
You are misinterpreting.
Please repeat what you said, Sergeant Kosi.
Ngithi ngenhlonipho kwinkomishana ngisame kuloko bekade ngikusho.
You apologize that you still stand.
Respectfully, either respectfully or with respect. I stand by what I said earlier.
With respect, I still stand by what I said.
Will I now have found the reference to where you got it from the general? That's on page 518, on the 25th of March.
File 2.
File 2,
518.
518.
Ukuthi le document wayitholaphi ku 518.
Uthi ipage bani?
18.
Yeah, file 2.
Is that file 2
Yes, yes. Sorry,
And
sorry,
have
not confirmed.
have you
It's
found
fine.
page 518?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
sorry.
all right.
So you received it from the General on the 25th of March.
Ngomhla 25 March, le document wayithola ivela ku-general.
Ngiyayibona.
I can see that.
Why did the General send it to you? Had you asked for it?
Kungani u-general wayithumela kuwe le document, ngabe wayicela?
Angeke ngikhumbule kahle ukuthi ngayicela or kanjani mara ngiyayivuma ukuthi ngayisendelwa uye.
I cannot recall if I asked for it or how it came about, but I do agree that this was sent to me by the general.
And a few days after you received it from the General, not a few days, a few hours, you forwarded it to Mr. Mnisi, that we see on page 158.
Emva kwehora nje noma amahora ambalwa uyitholile wayithumela ke kuMr. Mnisi.
That is what?
58, file 1.
Okay. I confirm.
Why would you forward it to the CFO?
I really can't remember.
That's all in March. And a full month later, you forwarded it to Mr. Mampani on page 932. And when he receives it after a conversation or some calls with you, he says, Booty, please let him say no to that appointment, please. And you still can't remember why he said that.
That's correct.
Now, Mr. Mampani was the right-hand man of the late Mr. Msibi. Is that not correct? Was that your testimony on Wednesday? In April 2025, what was his relationship with Mr. Sibanyoni like? Did they have a good relationship or a bad relationship?
In April,
April 2025.
I would not know, but I know that they are not friends. They are not talking.
They're not friends today. Today, we're talking, when you say they're not friends.
If I understood you correctly, you said relationship with Mr. Mampane?
And Mr. Sibanyoni.
Yes. No, they are not friends.
They're not friends.
Yes.
And you don't know whether Mr. Mampani had a security company that was already providing ad hoc services to the city or not?
Yes,
You don't know, or you do know?
I don't know.
You see, what would happen if an appointment was not made on this contract is the existing bidders, the existing contractors, would stay in position until a new contract was appointed pursuant to a new tender process. You accept that?
Interpreter?
Uyavuma ukuthi le contract ukuba yayisasebenza. Sorry, I think I'm getting my, if you could repeat the question.
If an appointment was not made in terms of this tender,
Uma i-appointment yayingenziwanga ngale tender.
then the existing service providers
Can you repeat that question so that maybe my interpreter can hear it correctly? Because I think another misunderstanding between you and her.
The interpretation was accurate, Sergeant
No.
Nkosi.
But can you repeat again? Sorry, Commissioners.
if an appointment was not made in terms of this tender,
Uma kwakungaqashwanga noma i-appointment yayingenziwanga maqondana nale tender.
then the existing suppliers
Ngakho ke laba ama-supplier ayevele ekhona
would remain providing ad hoc security services to the city
ayezoqhubeka nokuthi ahlinzeke ngama-service okwesikhashana kwidolobha kwi-city.
until a new tender process had taken place and a new appointment had been made.
Uma mangabe le kungenziwanga i-appointment entsha.
Babezoqhubeka
Babezoqhubeka.
kuze kube ne-appointment entsha.
Yeah, my interpreter is okay. I think we should proceed. Mara, ngiyacabanga ukuthi umama ehambe yamlahlekela endleleni. So the reason ukuthi ngithi ngicela i-interpreter ngoba ngifuna ukuphendula to the best of my ability. So manje makuba namagama awashiya endleleni mina ngophendula bese kula magama awafakile kanti bekumele ngiphendule kula magama awashiya. Bese impendulo yami kubonakala ngathi ingenye indlela engafuneki ukuthi ngibeke yona. So it's my humble submission that
Here is the simple question, Sergeant Nkosi, that if there's a tender process
yes,
and there was a previous tender before,
yes,
if new service providers are not appointed under the new tender process, it means the previous service providers will continue providing services on a monthly basis until a new service provider is appointed.
that is how I understood it. That's not what my honorable interpreted it. So the commission must take note that sometimes there is miscommunication between. In reference to that, I accept that.
See, your problem is you are hearing clearly, and even things that you are hearing clearly, you want to be interpreted, and then you try to correct the interpreter.
No, Commissioner. I'm sorry, ngiyaxolisa mama ukuthi ngibonakala kanjalo. I'm sorry to you, commissioners. You know the reason, commissioners, I don't want to upset Commissioner Baloyi.
Why her?
Because
I'm asking the question, why her? She's quiet.
yes, you know, before I answer, I must think of her first. That what is coming next? So with due respect, not in a bad way. So I want to ask that to the best of their ability, that indeed I want to answer. So that is the reason I'm very cautious when my interpreter interprets, so that the next word now I must look this side and this side. Then I don't want that again.
I think it's a good idea not to upset me.
No.
Mr. Justice.
So if you were an existing service provider,
Uma ubumuntu obuhlinzeka ngale ma-service okhona okwamanje,
you would have an interest in not having the new tender result in a new appointment.
ubuzokuthakazela wena uma umuntu okulected okuprovide le service ohlinzeka ngale service okwamanje ukuthi kungabi nenye itender ebakhona entsha engenayo. Uthanda ukuthi isimo sihlale singaleso simo ukuthi kungabi nenye itender engenayo mangabe usaqhubeka nokwenza lo msebenzi.
Do you see that? Do you accept that?
Kunjalo.
Yes, it is so.
And if you were a bidder for tender 3 of 24-25, like you say Mr. Mampani was,
Uma ngabe ke njengokulesi simo sika Mr. Mampane ubuzofuna lesi simo sihlale sinjalo.
and you saw a list of all the bidders and all their prices, and you realized that your price was going to lose,
Kanti ke futhi wabona uhla lamanye amabid akhona kanye namanani ama-price abenzayo wabona ukuthi wena uzoluza.
you would have an even bigger incentive to get tender 3 of 24-25 to a position where no award was made. You would have an even bigger incentive to get tender 3 of tender 1 of 24-25 cancelled.
Ubuzoba nokuthakazelela ukuthi leyo tender ka 2024 I'm getting all muddled up, please.
Sorry, I'm particularly disorganized this morning. You would have an even bigger incentive to get this tender with this list of bidders cancelled.
Ubuzothakazela ukuthi le list entsha lama-tender acancel.
No, not the list, the tender itself.
The tender itself cancelled, indeed.
Ubuzothakazela ukuthi le tender kwasayona icancel.
Angeke ngiphawule kuloko ngoba nginayo itender.
I would not comment on that as I do not have a tender.
Angazi ukuthi maybe mabangangenanga bacabangani or mabangenile bacabangani.
I do not know what would they think, whether they are in or out.
But Mr. Mampani did have a tender, and he asked you to let him say no to that appointment.
Mr. Mampane ke wayenayo leyo tender wathi wakwazisa wakutshela ukuthi ucela ukuthi bathi cha kule tender entsha.
But you still say you can't remember why he asked you to let him say no to that appointment.
Kodwa usathi wena awazi ukuthi yini eyenza ukuthi akucela ukuthi wena bathi cha kule tender entsha.
Kunjalo.
It is so.
Let's move to a different topic then, or I'm going to move to a different topic unless there are questions from the commissioners. Can we go to page 532?
Fine.
532. File 2.
I'm pressed, can I?
Yes, Sergeant? The usual, the
I'm
usual.
pressed, please. Not the usual.
Let's adjourn.
Sorry, Commissioner.
even though I think the commission spokesperson, Mr. Michaels, made an announcement, let me still apologize to those present here and those viewing remotely. We were told that there was a technical problem. Apologies.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sergeant. I was asking you before we went to go to page 532 in file 2. You have it?
That's correct, I have it.
And there you'll see that on the 6th of May 2025, you sent a series of documents to the General, and you'll see what those documents are if you go to file 3, sorry, it's still file 2, page 621, from 621 onwards. They are documents relating to applications for employment at the city of Tshwane. You have them?
Yes, yes, I have them.
And so you'll see at 621, there is a receipt for someone's employment application. Then there's an ID that went with that receipt. At 623, another receipt, and on they go. There are various receipts for applications for employment at the city. Then I'm going to take you through all of these, and then I'd like you to address them. You'll see that on page 1159, that's file 3, you'll see that on the 26th of August, MMC Morodi sent you a similar document. You'll find the document at 1171. It too, at 1171, is a confirmation of receipt of an application for a position with the Metro Police. And at 1165, you'll see that on the 25th of September 2025, MMC Morodi sent you a similar document, another receipt of an application for appointment at the Metro Police. That document is at 1172. Then if you go back to page 560, you'll see that on
Please wait for him to get there, Mr. President.
560, right?
560. You have 560.
I have it.
14 September of 2025, you'll see another series of these documents are sent from you to General Dlamini, and the documents themselves run from page 652, all the way through to 670. And you'll see that they're all applications, applications at the Metro Police.
Mr. Chairperson, the documents to the general, are they the same as from MMC Morodi that you've referred to, or this is additional?
I haven't done that recon. They're certainly not the same. They are more, at the very least, they're more. Whether they overlap, I can come back to the Commission at a later stage.
All right, thank you.
Or maybe, Sergeant Nkosi, can you tell us, are the documents that you sent to the General, do they include the documents that were sent by MMC Morodi to you?
No.
They don't.
Mr. Skelson, I wanted to make the point that the previous ones were accompanied by IDs. These ones are not accompanied by IDs.
Yes, some of the previous ones had IDs. Certainly the list of the 14th of September doesn't have IDs. There was, I think, only one ID on the 6th of May. For the rest, it was just receipts without ID. There were some IDs, but not all of them had IDs. Now, first question is, why were you sending these job application receipt forms to General Dlamini?
Thank you, Commissioners. The reason that I was sending this to General Dlamini, these documents are the application for the vacancy that was advertised in or at Tshwane. As a person who's directly involved in the community activities, I'm encouraging youth to apply for employment. I then make a follow-up to that effect. So those that have sent the website that there were vacancies, some I send them in the communities. I then make follow-up. Did you apply? Show me the proof that you applied.
So you are encouraging youth to apply at the City of Tshwane and in the Metro Police Department?
Not specifically at Tshwane or Metro Police specifically. I just wanted to be vague. I'm encouraging youth to work.
Sure. And when people make applications, you help them to follow up on their applications.
That's correct.
And so in this case, you were following up on applications that members of the community had made, and they wanted feedback. Is that what was taking place?
In addition to what you just said, they want the feedback. Sometimes their frustration would be they have applied and there would not be respond from wherever that they have applied from.
So if I take you to, say, page 532, well, let's start at 621, because that's where the receipt is. That receipt is dated 11 April, and you send it to General Dlamini on 6 May. Why would you send it to General Dlamini on 6 May if it's less than a month after the application was acknowledged by the city?
I don't know if I understand you. Can you maybe repeat that question? Perhaps I must be.
If this is an issue of following up, and following up in cases where there has been no response from the city, if one goes to 621, one sees that the city acknowledged receipt of the application on the 11th of April, but you are sending the acknowledgement of receipt to the General on the 6th of May. So that's about 3 weeks later. Why would you be sending it to the General after only 3 weeks if you were following up?
Okay. If I understand you correct, I'm subjected to be corrected. You are saying, why did I send this confirmation to the General after it was closed or before it was closed?
No, let me maybe be more explicit. Let's go back to 621.
Yes, you are at 621.
Second paragraph. You are hereby informed that correspondence will be limited to shortlisted candidates only. If you do not receive a reply within 12 weeks of the closing date, please consider your application unsuccessful. So they're saying there's a 12-week processing time here.
Yes.
Now the application, the receipt is dated 11 April. You see?
Yes.
So they are sending this letter to the applicant on the 11th of April and saying it's going to take 12 weeks to process these applications. On the 6th of May, which is roughly 3 weeks after that receipt letter is sent, you send the receipt letter to the General. Why did you send it after 3 weeks?
I still stand by my statement that it was to make a follow-up with results to this application.
But the receipt itself indicates that it's going to take 12 weeks to process the application, or will take up to 12 weeks to process the application. Why would you expect the General to know the outcome of the application 3 weeks after that receipt letter?
I just send it like I'm explaining. I'm explaining to you now.
Let me then ask, why would MMC Morodi send you a receipt of application on the 26th of August? What did she want you to do with the employment application receipt?
It was to make a follow-up on whether the application had been received or not.
Well, she knew that the application had been received because the document at 1171 is a letter from the city saying it has been received. It's the same standard form letter from the city that says, we've received your application. If you don't receive a reply within 12 weeks of the closing date, please consider your application unsuccessful. So she knew it had been received. And it had been received, the receipt had been acknowledged on the 3rd of August. About 3 weeks after the 3rd of August, she sends it to you. Why did she send it to you? She knew it had been received, so it couldn't be for you to check that it had been received. What was she wanting you to do?
She wanted me to check if indeed it was received. And maybe if I could do something in terms of checking or what could be the problem that maybe some of people who applied to those vacancies were not being called.
And did you make any inquiries on her behalf?
Yes?
With whom did you inquire?
With General Dlamini.
What did you ask him in relation to this application?
I asked him to check in what is happening about such application.
And what did he report?
He said he will check.
And did you follow up again to find out what happened to this application?
I can't quite remember.
Now, MMC Morodi is an MMC of Tshwane. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
You have no formal relationship with Tshwane. Is that correct?
Can you repeat that?
You have no formal relationship with Tshwane. You're not a Tshwane official. You're not in any contractual relationship with Tshwane.
Yes.
Why would she ask you to make these inquiries?
Let me maybe answer it in this way. Like myself, I'm a police official. When people apply for a vacancy in the SAPS, they would maybe send questions or whatever reference. Hey, because of your insight, can you check what is the progress of this application? So according to me, that is the reason or why I sent to General Dlamini, because it was with regards with Metropolis. So same applies to when MMC Morudu sent it to me, and then I then forwarded to General Dlamini like I was doing with other applications that are seen here in this document.
Yes, but you're not inside the Tshwane Police Department, or are you?
I'm not, Commissioner.
You're not. I mean, you do quite a lot in relation to the Tshwane Municipal Police Department, but you're not formally inside. Isn't that true?
I'm not formally inside. I wouldn't comment on that. You said first.
Yes, well, we've seen you sort of assist the CFO to communicate with the head of the police department a great deal. Do you accept that?
We are in the documents now.
All right. We don't need to go over yesterday's territory. But again, my question is, why would MMC Morodi think that you were an appropriate person to approach to follow up on a job application? Why would you be appropriate? She's an MMC of this city. Why does she need you to follow up?
No, I think it was the matter of, believing that I believe in youth development and knocking on doors where there is an opportunity for people to work, especially youth. So I think it was on those bases.
Does she believe in youth development?
Yes.
So why did she need you to knock on doors? Why did she need you to knock on doors? Why couldn't she knock on doors herself?
No. Maybe I put it in a wrong sense that I'm knocking on doors. I'm trying to take advantage where there is opportunities for youth development.
park knocking on doors for a moment, but my question remains, why does she need you to explore these opportunities for youth development in the city if she's the MMC and you have no relationship with the city?
I think it is on the basis that we usually do charity work. We get involved where they are doing the charity. So I think it was on those bases. Help where you can or where you could.
And did you follow all of these applications?
Yes, I did.
And were they successful?
No,
They were not successful.
that's correct.
None of them.
According to my understanding, none of them.
And did you find out why?
That's correct.
And what was the answer that was given to you?
They were not compliant. They failed the aptitude test. Some they failed to run the training obstacles.
So not one of the applicants was compliant.
According to me, yes.
Who told you this?
Them, the applicants.
The applicants reported to you individually, I failed, this was the reason they gave me.
Yeah, the one that I know of, yeah.
And do you know if, do you know if anyone was successful?
No, not the one that I can know.
Now, can I take you page 563?
Sorry, is it still the same theme?
It is still the same thing. On the 21st of September, you sent the General a document which, and that document we'll get to, it's at page 661, and you said, look, one of his friends was sent this. And then you said, my General, how legit is this? And if we go to 661,
661.
you see it says, dear applicant, you're invited to attend the Metro Police physical assessments and verification of documents, gives the date, the place, bring along the following documents, and it tells you what to bring. NB, wear sports clothes, bring your own food and water bottle. And at 563, you say, my General, how legit is this? Why were you concerned about the legitimacy of a document inviting applicants for jobs to come and present themselves for physical assessment and verification of documents?
Can you repeat that?
Why were you concerned about the legitimacy of a document that invited applicants for employment in a municipal police department to present themselves for a fitness assessment and verification of documents? Why were you concerned about it?
Okay, thank you. The reason that I was concerned, it was with, this message was forwarded to me that Luke, one of his friends, was sent this. Then I take same and forward it to the General. I then make a follow-up that, my General, how legit is this? I was checking with the General that indeed there were calls made to other applicants.
Sorry, they were?
There were calls made, or there were any other arrangements made to the applicants, some applicants that applied for this post.
You see, if we look at your message to the General that attaches the notice for applicants to present themselves for a fitness assessment, you say one of his friends was sent this, and then there's that sort of shocked emoji, which you seemed able to find on this case. Why was it potentially shocking that one of the friends of the person who you knew had been sent this invitation?
I'm not the author of that look. One of his friends was sent this. The person who forwarded it to me is the one who wrote this. I took same and forwarded to the General.
So, who forwarded this to you?
Is one of the parents of the applicants.
And the parent was shocked that somebody else had been invited to do a fitness assessment, but their child had not. Is that what the parent was shocked about?
Can you repeat that? What I must...
So the parent who sent this to you sent it with a shocked emoji.
That's correct.
And was the parent shocked because their child hadn't been invited to the fitness assessment, but one of their friends had been invited?
That was my understanding, yes.
And the parent presumably was expecting you to ensure that their child would also get invited.
I wouldn't say he was expecting me to make sure that their child is invited. She was making a follow-up and followed by this message that she's shocked according to the emoji.
But why would she be shocked that an applicant is invited to a fitness assessment? She'd only be shocked if she expected her child also to be invited.
I would not be in position to know, but I would assume that, you know, as a parent, you know that maybe your child is fit or is capable to do something. At the end of the day, maybe your child is a friend to this one, and you see that this one cannot do anything. But be vice versa, that one got opportunity and yours does not. So I think that emoji came from there.
No, I accept that the emoji came from them. But I'm still trying to understand what they were expecting from you and what you were expecting from the General. So let's start with what they were expecting from you. What were they expecting from you?
Okay, as I've said earlier, to make follow-ups with regards to their application. They don't know the General, I know the General. I did not make any arrangement with them with regards to the General. I said, send it to me, I will see how I can help. That is when I involved the General. General, can you check what is happening here, the progress and so forth. So that is that view.
But what they send you is an invitation for a fitness assessment that's been sent to somebody else. So they're presumably asking you to find out why their child hasn't received a similar application for a fitness assessment. Isn't that what they were asking from you?
Yes.
Then why do you say to the General, my General, how legit is this? What was potentially illegitimate about a friend being invited to a fitness assessment.
Okay, if you can see this document, or let's say the so-called response, it says the trainees must come at 4 ways, Rodeport. And I know that Tshwane is not at Rodeport. Why would they then summon them to Rodeport? So I was sending the general with that effect that, can he verify that this thing is legit?
Well, if they were being summoned to Rudaport, one could assume that it wouldn't come from Tshwane, it would come from Johannesburg. Is that not right?
That's correct.
And wouldn't your question then to the general not be, is this legit, but something along the lines of, does this come from Tshwane, or why is Tshwane inviting people to Rudaport? If you wanted to follow it up at all, as opposed to just assuming this can't come from Tshwane. Tshwane will never assess people in Rudaport.
That will be, it will depend on how I express my interaction with the general.
You see, if you follow the chats, it takes the general a while. You send him you send it to him at 5:21, he calls you back at 5:23, and then at 5:24 he says, this is for the JMPD, it's not for TMPD. Can I tell you what it looks like to me? What it looks like.
Oh, before, you said what page is that?
Sorry?
You said what page is that?
It's the same page. Just go down to 5:24.
5:24.
Yes. Not page 524, the same page at chat number 5 at 5:24 p.m.
563, page 563.
Okay. I think maybe to Mara, let me just wait for you to comment first, then I will.
Well, maybe let me hear your comment on the general's response to you at 5:24.
Okay. The general was responding to me that these ones are not the Tshwane vacancies. I think it was me, maybe, who made a mistake. After they forwarded this message to me, I immediately forwarded to General, without maybe telling General that this is not the Tshwane document or not. Is it legit or not? I was forwarding it to the General to check if it was legit. But I think maybe it was coming from the basis that I've sent him the Tshwane application, not the JMPD.
Yes, you'd sent him a Tshwane application. You didn't realize at the time that this was a response from JMPD and not from Tshwane.
I think so, yes.
You thought it was a response from Tshwane.
That's correct.
But then why your question, my general, how legit is this?
Because I thought it was a Tshwane document.
Yes, if it was a
So
Tshwane.
now, when he responds, he rectifies me here and say, no, Captain, this is for JMPD.
No, I understand. I see that the general pointed out that it came from JMPD, not TMPD, but why would you be concerned about the legitimacy of it? Why would your question be, is this legitimate, as opposed to, does this come from TMPD, not JMPD?
because at that time, this was the first applicant who sent me this, and they came with these things, according to the parent. So that is the reason I was asking them.
You see, what it looks like to me from the outside is that this parent had an expectation that you would ensure that, at the very least, their son's application got processed, if not successfully. And the parent writes to you saying his friend has been asked to present himself for a fitness assessment. He hasn't. Why is this? You were supposed to look after him. Is that not what was happening?
You know, Commissioner, I'm not saying you're not a parent, but when you are a parent and you see your child not doing well, if you feel at that particular time that there is an opportunity, whether that person is going to influence that process or not, according to the way you are putting it to me, that he was expecting me to make, you know, I don't know what there. But according to me, that parent, you know, was happy that at long last my child will have an opportunity to work. So I'm taking that on those bases.
No, I do understand that. But isn't there an expectation that you will look after these applications for the children? That you will make sure that these applications get properly processed and that their children stand a good chance of being appointed?
That is your view. My view is that one that I've explained.
You see, what it looks like to me from these, from this exchange is that you expected that the General would ensure that all of your applicants were invited for fitness assessments and documentation verification and got through the first round of the application process to that stage. And you were quite concerned that somebody who wasn't one of your applicants had been invited to a fitness assessment and your applicant hadn't. That's what it looks like to me. That's why you said, how legit is this? What's your comment on that?
That's not true.
Can I take you to page 654?